Hi everybody, Jen here with a layout from the Scraptastic. I think it was either September or October. No, it was the October Heart at Races kit. I am using a photo of myself at a disc golf. I guess it's I don't even know what you would call it, the end of a disc golf course or hole. Um, Showing my frisbee in the cage, in the basket, and I'm using this green cardstock as a background with some of this Chamel paper and both sides of this Teresa Collins paper, floral paper, as layering pieces. And I'm just going to cut down this piece of Chamel paper to use straight across the bottom of my page here. And I fiddle with this a little bit to try to figure out exactly where I want it. I know I don't want the piece of Chamel paper to go directly across. I do want a little bit of that green showing on the left-hand side. So I'm just going to trim off that about 1/4 of an inch or so. And I'm going to play here with this 4x4 photo here and the layering elements. And I really think that I'm going to put it in the left-hand corner of my layout here, but it ends up going in a totally different area once I play around with it a little bit more. For those of you that don't know, disc golf is kind of a combination between mini golf with that cage, but it's using a frisbee in usually a heavily wooded area. So it's quite fun. I really enjoy it. It's not an easy, I guess it's not really a sport. It's kind of like a hobby. So you throw frisbees like line driving down this course, and your goal is to get it into that basket, that middle chain basket. And it's a lot harder than it looks. Right there, that's actually a basket that was pretty out in the open, but most of them in my 2 local courses are not out in the open. They are heavily wooded, extremely heavily wooded. So you're trying to throw a frisbee around trees, and they tend to get stuck in trees, and it's a lot of fun. It takes several hours to complete a 18-hole course. And I have 2 courses that are pretty local. One is at a campground about 15 minutes from my house, and the other is at a state park about 25 minutes from my house. So I've played both of them, and I really like them both. Anyway, well, I've been instructing you all on disc golf. I have used my tiny attacher to attach one of those Heidi Swap acetate words, and it says shine. And this was one of the only times I think I've ever gotten below par on a disc golf course. I think I got it in 3 throws, which is typically I am very poor, and my throwing arm is extremely off of where it should be. So I'm usually, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, even more. I tend to play with my cousin, and usually there's supposed to be a limit, but we'll just play until we get it, unless there's people waiting. So I'm going through all of the embellishments that came with this kit, and I'm pulling out all of these frames. Most of them are from a Chicken Crafts die cut pack, and they come like all together, and you punch them out, and they have this very thin layer frame as well, and I think it's more of like supposed to be like thrown out to use between the main pieces of frame, but I actually use them all as layering pieces, and I make this kind of geometric pattern here with these frames, and I really liked how it came out. It's something very different for me. It's not something I would typically do, nor have I ever done in the past. And the worst part here was gluing it all down and trying to figure out exactly how I had it. Because I'm actually, instead of going from the bottom up, I'm going from the top down, gluing pieces here and there and all together. And then going to put the entire piece down as a single whole. So it actually takes me quite a long time to get this down and glued. And I was trying to figure out the best way to glue it down. I knew it wasn't wet glue, but I didn't feel like using anything smaller, like a tape runner, because it would have just taken too much time. So I did use my wet Scotch quick dry, and it worked perfectly fine. And I'm going to fill here with these frames until I get them in the perfect semblance of order here. I didn't want too many of them overlapping so it looked like there was tons of trapped empty white space. There's still a lot of white, like there's still a lot of trap space, but I tried to minimize it. And I'm actually going to put my title here over this in some of these frames. So it's, in the end, there still is some trap space, but it's not as bad as it looks right there. I kind of fill it up a little bit with words and die cuts. And then before I start the title here, I'm going to go through and pull out a couple more pieces of die cuts. This one is from the Fancy Pants, I think it's BU, or I think something like that, collection, and it's their stickers, and I couldn't tell you what it says. I don't have the layout here with me. I probably could dig for it, but I think it says something about today. Oh, today is a day of is full of possibilities, I think. So that fit nicely with my below par frisbee throw. And then I use this cut apart that says date, and this dart piece of cut apart that is a dart, which I will never use again. So I figured it's not really darts, but it's kind of like a hobby game. So I put it down and made it work. And then I'm using these We Are Memory Keeper stickers here to spell out disc golf. And that's going to be part of my title. And I think the rest of my title says Rockin disc golf, or Rockin the disc golf, or something like that. And then I actually journal right here and now about right on camera, which I never do. As you know, I tend to go back and journal afterwards. But I'm using the October Afternoon Daily Flash stickers. I love those stickers to spell out the rest of my title, because I wanted something smaller, because those stickers are so big that it was going to be way too busy with all the frames and everything if I didn't use something small. So I did do Rockin disc golf as my title. And I see I'm going to put these in this frame here to fill up some of that space. And then I will end up putting the disc golf over the rest. And that, because they're so big and they're yellow, they're going to take away from some of that busyness of the frames. And I found that these were super sticky, so I don't think I ended up having to glue them down like I do thickers. The We Are Memory Keeper ones seem to be much more, made much better than the American Crafts one. I guess now that they're all one company, who knows if that's going to stay true. But this was really only my first or second time with the We Are Memory Keeper stickers, or letter thickers, I guess. Letter stickers, I don't know. But so I really haven't had too much experience with them. But so far I like them. I think I got them in one other kit. But I liked how it came out on this layout, even though I wasn't hugely fond of the color that came in this kit. Then I added this little banner sticker off to the side, and this star that says "You Shine," to repeat the shine word that I had put up above my photo. And I'm just going through here to see if there's anything else that I can use. And I do use a couple of these rub-ons. And let me tell you, I am not a huge rub-on fan. I loved, 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 loved these rub-ons. They were less like the typical rub-ons. They were much more colorful. They stood out a lot more than any rub-ons I've ever used before. And they were like, I don't know if thicker is the right word, but it was a different material than most rub-ons I've used, and I loved them. I think I only used one or two on this layout, but I used a whole bunch on another layout, and I think I still have some left. Loved them. They're Teresa Collins, and I will certainly get any Teresa Collins rub-ons again in the future. I'm using a couple of these, I don't know if they're cork. I think they're wood veneer stars that may have came in the kit, or I may have gotten out of my stash. And I'm just pulling out a journaling pen, and the next minute and a half or so is just going to be spent with me journaling about that day. And essentially the journaling is going to say exactly what I told you, that I've really fallen in love with disc golf over the last couple of years. I make it a point to go, I don't know, 4 to 5 times, usually in the spring and the fall, because it's too hot to be chasing a Frisbee through the woods in July or August. So I usually go in like March or April once the snow melts, and then I just played my last game of disc golf now. I think right before Thanksgiving we went. It was warm enough, and it was quite muddy, but it was still warm enough, and we didn't lose any Frisbees. So it was good. I ended up journaling crooked, which is typical for me, but my journaling finishes up my page, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.